Hi, everybody. This is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food, and we're doing a follow up with a losing turtle in our community. Her name is Marla. You met her before, and she's here to give us her update on what's been happening since the last time we spoke. I love updates, they're fun. They show the joy of the journey and how we just keep doing it, right?
You got it, Sarah. Just keep doing it.
So, welcome, Marla. Now, when was the last time you were here? Do you
It
remember?
was about 3 months ago. It was in February. It was right before my granddaughter's birthday, so it had to be near the end of February.
Okay. All right. So it's like a 10-week review.
There we go.
And we'll go over all of your meds and doses, increase everything the way that we need it. And I want to give you a second statin just to make sure that,
Sounds like a plan. Just
yeah,
put
doesn't
it in
it?
my coffee.
Wee. All right. So what's new? What's happening?
Well, I'm still losing weight and still strict keto, and life is good, and I am just thrilled with my lifestyle. We still have our home group going, and it's good. I've had some new people at work come up and ask me to help them. So that's encouraging.
That is
I
encouraging.
think I had about 136 pounds off last time we spoke, and I'm up to 150 off.
There you go. So you're,
So,
1 3/4 a week.
yeah, about that. I have my moments where there's nothing, but I only usually weigh once a month. And so it gives me, it's not so discouraging when I weigh once a month. But I was curious the other day, and I think I lost a pound a day for like 4 days.
Okay.
And I was just curious. I felt, sometimes you feel like you've lost weight. And so I went against my own better judgment and weighed and went, oh. And then the next day, oh, and then I thought, oh, okay. So we're done with that.
You
But
were
it
lucky
is,
it was a loss because I've had those days when I wake up feeling extra skinny, and I think, oh, maybe there's one of those, things that's happened. What if I jump on? And then what if there's a gain? I'll think about it all day and say, well, that's my punishment for looking beforehand.
yeah, well, it's the chance we take anytime we get on the scale.
Good for you though. That's kind of interesting with your metabolism that it held it all there and then it was a pound, a pound, a pound, a pound.
Right. Yeah,
Nice.
it does that. So, but I've been a lot more consistent with putting collagen in my coffee, and I've cut back on my heavy cream. My first 2 cups every cup had cream in it because I'm not a black coffee drinker. But my first 2 cups now are collagen in a little MCT oil, and I'm really enjoying that. And so I do notice benefits of having collagen, and so I try to be consistent with it, and I really do see a difference on it. My husband's seeing a big difference on it too. He was thinking maybe he'd tore a rotator cuff or something, and he started adding the collagen to his coffee, and feels so much better. So, if for nothing else, the joint pain and that seems to help us.
That's kind of funny because Melissa, who I think is airing today, she does Knox gelatin for
Yes.
reasons. And her husband had aches and pains and started doing the Knox gelatin in his coffee, and he found the same relief. So that's kind of funny that two couples kind of do the same thing.
Well, it's a keto household here, so usually what one tries, the other usually will follow, except for the liver. They do not follow me on the liver. Well, I guess our cats do. We make their keto, and so we make their cat food, and so the cats and I'll share a batch of liver.
That's funny. So rather than put it on other people's plates thinking that they'll eat it and then the cat gets it anyway, that just goes directly to the cat.
Definitely. Every time we do up a batch of cat food, it's the cats and I share that liver. So yeah, it's kind of
That's
funny.
funny. Well, this all sounds great. Now, are you still doing your 2 meals a day?
Am still doing whatever I feel like doing at the time. When I work, I do 8 on night shift. And so when I'm doing my 8 days in a row, I usually only eat 1 meal a day. It's usually when I get up in the afternoon because I get home from work and I go right to bed. And so I don't want to eat before going to sleep. And so when I get up, I usually have dinner. And then I don't usually eat again until the next day at dinner. If I have an unusual night and I get a little hungry, I might have an egg or something like that. But on my days off, it's whatever I feel like doing. I was watching a video by Ketogenic Girl, and she did one on intuitive eating, and I never knew I had a name for that before. And it's like, oh, that's what I do. And so it's pretty much if I'm hungry, I'll eat, and if I don't, I won't. It just depends on how I feel. And if I'm hungry, I'll have breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oh,
And
wow.
if I'm not, I'll have just dinner, or I'll eat breakfast and then I'm still full and that's all I have. But it just depends on how I'm feeling at the time.
That's amazing. I don't trust my addict with anything like that. So, but that's great that you can really do intuitive eating. That's
Yeah,
really a gift.
it it is for me, that freedom from being hungry all the time. Um, to now, and last time we interviewed, I said, well, I'm never hungry. And I that's not what I meant. I'm never insatiable. I'm never not satisfied. There's a big difference. But knowing what true hunger feels like is a gift. And I don't care about snacking. I don't want to snack. It kind of irritates me when I see ads for all of this keto stuff. It's like, oh, come on. All you're doing is feeding the addict when you do that. But if somebody needs it and it keeps them going keto, go for it. I'm not saying it's bad for everybody. I'm talking about for me. I just don't like that idea of snacking.
Well, you do that, the keto group through your church, and so when people come in new, they might have to break that Weight Watcher mentality of snacks are okay too. So
Yeah.
there might be some crutch work going on, as or the walker. I just need a few snacks, and then they kind of let go as they see that satiation from the fat can really save them from that snack. The snack part is a habit versus a need, right?
It was really funny too that having the group come into your home, you're used to feeding people and giving them something to eat and having hors d'oeuvres or having snacks. And so I didn't do that, but they'd bring it.
Oh,
And then it's like everybody would enjoy it. And then it's like, well, let's do it on something new. I have a new item that I want to share or something like that. And so we started doing that. And then one time I made a keto chocolate mousse. And now it's such a hit that I have one in particular, Teresa. She's an addict for my chocolate mousse.
is that with
And
the
they're going to be
avocado?
no,
Oh,
it's just heavy cream, eggs, and baker's chocolate with a little. I use pure when
mm-hmm.
I use the sweetener,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't really eat anything sweet anymore. And so I'll make it for other people, but very, very seldom do I ever have it myself because I just don't want it. I really the new information coming out. I think it was Dr. Berry that was talking about even a sweet taste on your tongue can start up your insulin and start up your cravings. I think it was Dr. Berry, but I think he's got a really good point there. Um, I think that if somebody's really having a hard time with sweets, they might want to just try to break the habit of any sweet taste, and it might help.
That's a good point. And I think I heard something similar to that too. And beyond walking through the bakery at the grocery store and putting on 5 pounds just by smelling. But your body, yeah, it's all set. It's like, okay, here we go. We're on call. Okay, we just got the call.
That's right. And I
Yeah.
don't want to go there.
No.
And my problem wasn't sweets. It wasn't one thing in particular. It was just I was always hungry. So whatever happened to be around at the time, I would eat it. And there we go. And so now it's like, oh, I know what my hunger feels like. And if I'm hungry, I'll eat. I notice, though, when I don't get my sleep, that I'm more hungry. And being a night shifter for 8 days in a row, it's very hard for me to break that and go to sleep at night. Like last night, I didn't go to bed. I think I slept like an hour and a half, just because my body says it's time to be up, not time to sleep. And so I'll probably go back to bed in an hour or two and sleep probably until my husband gets home. But it's I noticed that maybe that's why I eat more than one meal a day on my days off, is because I don't get the sleep. It's funny that on my days or nights that I work, I get better sleep than on my days off, because I try to match the family and I want to spend more time with them. And there's things I want to do, and there's things that aren't open at night. And so my sleep suffers at times.
Yeah, working overnight has lots of pratfalls, and as you say, you want to grab the family, you want to be doing the normal because you couldn't for the last 8 days. I understand that totally.
My husband's finally learned to quit taking it personal if I don't go to bed when he goes to bed.
Oh,
but he's a day, he works day shift, and he has to be out the door, I think, around 4 in the morning. And I'm getting off at 4:30 in the morning. And so we talk, he's going to work and I'm on my way home. So we at least spend that time talking on the phone. But if I go to bed and I'm not tired, I keep him awake. I'm laying there trying to sleep, or it just doesn't work.
No,
so I've quit fighting it.
I have a funny story. I used to do overnights at substance abuse places. And so at this one particular place, there were 3 of us that did the overnight. And so actually 2 of us. And so this woman comes in and she plops everything down and starts taking everything out, unpacking for the shift. And I said, how come you're here? And she goes, I'm scheduled to work. And it's like, no, you're not. So-and-so's in the other house and I'm in this one. And she says, no. And I said, yeah. And, the expletive comes out. And she said, it's not so much that she got up to come to work. It's that she's so disturbing to her husband. Just coming back in would make him a grumpalump, for the rest of the day, because he's a light sleeper and all that. So I understand exactly what you're saying,
He doesn't ask much of me, but he does say, please don't come to bed the last hour of my sleep, because that's when I'm getting ready. Okay, I could go to sleep. So now I find something to do if it's close to him getting up. So it's like, no, he deserves his sleep. He respects my sleep during the day. And so I need to respect his too.
Yeah.
And he's doing really well. He doesn't need his thyroid medication anymore.
Okay.
And he's building back his strength. And his last checkup, he's cancer-free still, praise God. And he's starting to show his health again. He's looking stronger and better, and he's finally starting to realize it. He always had the mentality that to be bulky was to be in good shape, and it didn't matter if the bulk was muscle or if the bulk was fat. And so when he went keto, he's been keto close to 2 years now. And of course he lost weight, and he always equated that with not being healthy. And so it's taken him this amount of time to be able to look in the mirror and go, this does look better, but before it was like, I'm skinny and I'm unhealthy then. And, it's just the opposite of most people, but I guess we all have that body dysmorphia in some point to where what we see in the mirror isn't really what everyone else sees. And so that's been a really big lesson for him that he has, he looks more healthy, not having the bulk, but having, his muscles show. And so I've heard a joke on we all have a six pack. It's just under fat.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine was posing as a keg.
Oh, Sarah.
That's really neat. So, okay. So, you post pictures on my Facebook page of things that you're eating because you can't do it on YouTube. And I thought it was like a one egg thing that you were having, but it was on a dinner plate. And you said, no, it's four eggs from your lovely neighbor.
Yeah, I have my egg lady. Oh, she's just amazing. And she brings them to my door and they are so delicious. But yeah, I used to have a 1 or 2 egg omelet, or, I like my runny yolks, we joke and call that my gravy. But I realized that my weight was slowing down on losing the weight. And so I upped my eggs. I went up to 2, then I went up to 3, and now I'm at 4. And it's moving better. And I think it's because I was not eating enough. Because sometimes I have to, it's not that I force myself to eat, but I have to realize, 500 calories a day isn't really what I should be doing. And so I upped my omelet to 4 eggs. And I think I found that my sweet spot with that, because there's a lot of days that's all I eat. But it's not, I guess some people could call it an egg fast, but I'm not on any kind of egg fast. I just love eggs. And when I can get these delicious, nutritious eggs, fresh from the yard, I'm going to eat them and I'm going to enjoy them. And I'll have them with other things. We had a steak the other night and I think I had 2 eggs with it, but I don't keep it so low anymore. And I think that's another thing that got me off of where my weight was coming off a little quicker.
The fear of fat and the fear of having more food. Isn't that it's like, entering the keto world, it's like, really? It's kind of okay,
Yeah, I don't want to
go ahead.
I don't want to go back to having that fear. And but I did have to realize that, yeah, I need to eat a little more. And so that's when I moved it up to 4 eggs. But that was funny when you said, oh, what a cute little omelet or something like that. And it's like, no, you use the little plate. I use the big plate.
I know. It was funny. It was like, oh, because it looked like just like an egg that you would put in like an egg McMuffin or something, And you said, no, that's 4 eggs.
And cheese.
And cheese. Yeah. So that was kind of cool. And I love that you upped the eggs and you think that it's aiding in the weight loss. And I know that some, people on both sides, whatever camp they're in, have always said that eggs can sometimes aid with that because it's just the perfect food. And that's great.
Oh, it works for me because I just love eggs. Eggs, I do eat eggs almost every meal. And I just love them. And I don't have any issues with them. And I don't have any, when I went carnivore, I went for a little while without the eggs just to see, because some people say they're sensitive to them, or the egg whites, they're sensitive to them. And I didn't have anything. The only thing I found that I really am sensitive to is broccoli. When I put broccoli back in my diet, it's like, ow, that is not my friend. And so.
Nor mine. So where are you with veggies these days?
I have a very little salad once in a while. If there's avocados in the house, with avocados, I'm not ready. Oh, too late, you know. And so when there's avocados, then I'll have an avocado. Sometimes, though, that will end up being a meal for me because I enjoy it so much that I end up eating the whole thing. And then it's like, okay, then the rest of my meal goes back in the fridge. Or I like to make like almost like a taco salad, and I'll have just like a pinch of lettuce down in the bottom of it. And I do like some salsa on my eggs. And so, I get a little tomato and onion that way. But vegetables are not top on my list anymore. It seems it's such a funny progression that, coming from my background, I was vegetarian for 10 years. Wow. And I loved my vegetables. And my son says, he never really realized how good vegetables were until I went vegetarian. And his wife, we always joked with her, all she wanted was steak and butter. And we got her to eat vegetables because they were so healthy.
So healthy.
Oh, so healthy. And, I have a funny story. When I was a teenager, as I shared last time, I did a lot of things, including just not eating to not be so overweight. And I was probably 15, 16 maybe. And I was in my mom's kitchen and I was whipping myself up a instant breakfast type of thing because I would do that for every meal instead of, I guess now it's like Slim Fast or whatever. But, and so my mom had a plumber in the kitchen and I was, whirling up my meal, and I poured it into my glass and he looked at it and he goes, "What is that?" And I said, "Oh, it's my lunch." And he said, "Why are you having that for lunch?" And I said, "Well, I'm watching my weight and it's got all that nutrition in it, and he goes, "Honey, just eat eggs." And I thought, you are a crazy man. All that fat and all that, and you're telling me just to eat eggs. And he goes, "If you just eat eggs, you'll never have a day in your life that you'll be overweight."
Look,
so the plumber knew all those years ago.
Well, I've got an instant breakfast story to you too. My parents were severe alcoholics, so my mother would have her instant breakfast every morning with a shot of bourbon in it.
I should have tried that.
Ew, but that's how she did it. She moved on to Bloody Marys after that, but that was her Kickstarter every day. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, it's just, it was 60 years ago I was witnessing all of this. So, but it is funny how we do that. And, have you been watching any of the videos of any of these summits and conferences that have?
Oh, I am an addict when it comes to the videos. And I think that really helps because I watch people that I don't really agree with most of the time, but there's that little snippet that I go, oh, I'm going to pay attention to that. And I think that's what keeps us on the right path, is that education. But anyway, I'm sorry, what were you going to say about it?
Oh, no, I just wondered if you were watching any of them because like you, I just have such a small portion of a veg, and I put the green part of up to a tablespoon into my scrambled eggs that I have with my meat. And that's that's the limit of them. But if you told me 6 months ago that I wouldn't be having my baby butter lettuce, I'd say you're crazy. And here I am.
When I started cutting way back on my vegetables, and I would still watch you weighing out your lettuces and all of this, and I remember thinking to myself, I wonder how long it's going to take her to realize that she might not want that much, and it was funny when you started cutting back on. I went, oh, yeah.
Yep. Here it goes. It is funny how it happens, isn't it?
It really is. When I found out, because at my group, I was honest with them about not eating vegetables way before I really told anybody else. And I remember having our group meeting one night, and I said, Dr. Berry's carnivore. I'm not alone, because I didn't realize how prevalent it was out there. I definitely don't preach it for everyone to be carnivore by any means. We need to find our own path. We need to find out what works well for us, what makes us feel well. I'm going to be 64 in a few months, and I don't think I felt this good at 30. And I'm close to being, let's see, what I weigh now, I think I was in my 20s, early 20s. And it's all downhill from there.
Had you had any babies at that point?
I had my daughter when I was 21.
Okay.
And that's when I really got out of control because I was so afraid, because I didn't eat to not be fat. And, when my obstetrician put me on a diet, and I was gaining 5 pounds a week, and he was just going through the roof on me, and, telling me no salt and to have all this low fat, no fat.
Ugh.
And I was following the portions and everything that he told me. And every time I'd go in, he'd call me a liar. He's like, how are you going to be a mom if you can't, at least be truthful about what you're eating, it was horrible. And I remember I came home from one of my doctor's appointments, and I was just crying and all upset. And my husband, he asked me what was wrong. And I just told him about this doctor's appointment. And I said, honey, you see what I eat. I'm doing exactly what he's telling me to do. And we tore up the diet, and we went out and had ice cream.
Yay!
And the next time I went in and saw him, I hadn't gained a pound. And he said, well, finally, you're following my diet. And I said, if you only knew, and so it was like, that standard American healthy way of eating just packed on the pounds. And then after my pregnancy, I was nursing, and I wanted to make sure my baby had all the right nutrients and all of that. And I kept packing on the pounds. And I had girlfriends who, they were nursing and losing weight from nursing. And there I was, just packing on the pounds. And so it's like, I didn't know what to do. So I'd throw my hands up and say, never a diet again. And then I'd find a new diet, and then never diet again. And, because I blamed it on my willpower for failing, because I'd be successful. I was successful on Atkins. I was successful on juice diets, on the soup diet, on, whatever Weight Watchers. Well, Weight Watchers, I never was successful on. Weight Watchers, I always gained on Weight Watchers.
Wow.
And so, but when I finally gave up, because I was always so hungry, the pounds would come back. And instead of going, oh, it's what I'm eating, it was, I just don't have any more willpower. I can't do it anymore. And so I've lost a lot of weight over my lifetime, but never where I could maintain it.
And be in a lifestyle kind of event. This is what you're doing.
Right. The only thing I ever saw really was as a lifestyle was being a vegetarian. And I did enjoy what I ate, but I enjoyed it because it was carbs, all the pastas and breads and all of that stuff. It did not suit my body. And I've always had a problem with constipation. I know, here, TMI, but I haven't.
It's not to me.
But even as a vegetarian, I had that issue. I had to take something every day.
With all that fiber.
And all that fiber didn't do it. And so once I realized I was getting close to carnivore on this, those thoughts of fiber, start bombarding you. And it's like, wait a minute, I had all the fiber in the world, and that didn't help me. And so, but now with my magnesium and, that concoction I talked about that I make, it has my magnesium and my potassium and apple cider vinegar. That was so funny because I watched your video last night, because of our time change, it came on while I was still up. And when she called it a concoction and
Oh,
putting in the
Melissa,
apple
yeah.
cider vinegar and all of that in there. And it's like, yeah, I don't quite load mine up as much as she does, but there are times where I put all that stuff in there. But I make sure that I get my magnesium and then everything's running well.
Yeah, yeah. And the Fiber Menace book and watching him talk on YouTube really helped me a lot. And when there's a lot of graphs and things in the book, and it's like water's not going to help you if you're constipated. It
Right.
just it doesn't, and all the what we think, our mainstream thinking, and are you having your 35 grams of fiber every day? And it's not even close. And my home health visit lady that was just here with all of that abomination, it's like, well, where are you getting your fiber from? Well, I'm not. It's just something changed in her. She must have gone vegetarian because the product that she's pushing is vegetarian, and she was keto friendly when I had her last year. So something changed, but it's like now we got to worry about fiber.
It is amazing to me that people can still go on about what is a healthy diet. The vegetarians, the vegans, the no fat, low fat, all of the grains, all of the things that they're preaching it. And the only way they can say that that's healthy is if they say that nobody's doing it. That if you do the low fat, if you do the high grains, if you do the things that they tell you to eat, it must work. But the only reason it's not working is because we're so stupid and lazy that we don't know how to eat a healthy diet. So it's like, well, it's like that obstetrician I had, if you just follow it, it will work for you. No.
No. Hello.
No.
It's not calories in, calories out. It's not this food plan that you gave me. Did you watch the Drew Manning?
Yeah.
And I watched
Yeah.
that series when it was on.
Yes.
Fit to fat.
Fat to fit to fat to fit, or
Yes.
something. Yeah.
And when he got a great deal of empathy for people because he thought he had that same mentality. It's what you're eating. Push yourself away. Don't have that. Exercise more. And then he put on that 75, 80 pounds, and it was like, he learned. And it is interesting. We're so lucky. We are just so lucky with carnivore, carnivish, and keto, though. I mean, we are just so lucky. So even if we just go along steady like a turtle and things happen when they happen, we lose sizes when we're not losing pounds. I mean, it's just, we are so lucky. We're still in the game.
Well, when my sister, I think she hit a plateau, maybe 6, 8 months of not losing a pound, but she dropped like 3, 4 sizes. And so it just goes to show, that scale is not the end all be all. That scale isn't really, and she's close to carnivore now too. And for her, it was a natural progression, so it's funny that I have to make sure, because my granddaughters, they like to have some vegetables. One of them doesn't really care. The other one, I think if we really let her have her way, she would probably be vegetarian. But we cooked burgers on the grill last night, and she said she loved it, and it was such a surprise. She said that was really good. And so there's just certain kinds of meat that we're learning that she doesn't care for. But we all need to find our way, and if she chooses that lifestyle, then we just want to make sure that she gets the proper nutrition, not what the standard American proper nutrition is, but just
Heart
because our
healthy
house,
grains.
yeah, heart healthy greens. Oh my goodness.
Mm,
It's so funny that we could swallow that hook, line, and sinker. That this is it. It frustrates me so badly, especially where I work. With all the medical providers around, they really still believe that's the healthy way to eat it. And
I know. I know. I mean, I still remember every colonoscopy I've had because of the colon cancer, I've had more than my share. It's always Lorna Doones and apple juice
oh yeah.
when you come out of it. And one time I brought a hard-boiled egg and I think a cheese stick and stuff, and they were like looking at me as if I was odd, but a couple of them said, "Well, that makes more sense." But
Right. Well, when my husband on his last surgery that he had, we had to argue with him to not hang the ringers, because it does have some sugars in it.
yep.
And they were arguing, no, it doesn't. And it's like, well, so I looked up what it was and found, and it's like, no, you know, you are not giving that to him. You're not going to do it. If you've got to hang fluids, but it better not have any sugar in it. And they just thought, I was this crazy woman, and it's like, you know, he's keto because of the cancer history, and he wants the ketones to help fight the cancer, and you want to hang a bag of sugar. Not going to
Yeah.
happen.
And we bring the diabetic pancakes when they're in the hospital with sugar-free syrup.
Right.
And the
Yeah,
orange juice.
I really have a hard time keeping my mouth shut when I am in a room with a patient who, they're going to probably be admitted and they're probably going to be start losing some toes. And then, it's going to move its way up. And they're eating that sandwich and that glass of juice.
Yeah.
And I want to say, if you didn't have that, you might keep your toes. But I can't. And I just want to scream. I want to take the doctors outside the room and just shove them up against the wall, because it's like, can't you tell them how to get rid of this diabetes? But I can't. And who am I to be telling the doctor what to do? And it's all night long. I watch these patients come in, and the list of medications, and they're half my age. And most of them are on something for being a diabetic. And then they're taking another medication because that medication causes a problem, and they're taking this medication and that medication. And I'll see patients that last time I remember that they only had metformin, and now they're on insulin. And it's like, oh, all the skin problems they're having, and the circulation and the pain. And it's like,
Yeah.
and I can't fix it.
You're right in the trenches of seeing it and being so powerless, right?
Right. I did have one patient ask me, somehow it came up about my weight loss. I don't remember how it even happened, because I don't talk about myself, and she asked me what I was doing. And I just said, oh, I'm just, very low carb. And she said, I need to look into that. And I said, well, it might do you well too. Anything you're curious about, investigate, and I just wanted to go, here's my number. But I can't do that. But my sister works for Kaiser, and they have the continuing education courses that you have to take. I'm a little encouraged, though. She had one on keto for diabetics.
Wow.
And so it was like, wow, are they coming around? There might be some hope out there, because Kaiser's pretty much a forerunner of some things. And so it's like, maybe there's going to be a turn in the tide. But It's so hard to keep my mouth shut. And I want this so badly for everyone. And from where I've come from, and keto or carnivore might not be the right thing for everyone, but our bodies are smart enough to be able to heal ourselves when we provide it what it wants. But people aren't given the opportunity to listen to their body. We're so busy being told what's right. And, I look back at the generation before my mother, how they ate was healthy. It was the lard, it was the beef and the chickens and real food. And I remember when my mother introduced margarine to us, she thought she was really doing us a big favor, that we no longer, and, when Kool-Aid came out, boy, she thought that was a great thing for us kids. But I do remember she'd go, but we're only using half a cup of sugar instead of the whole cup.
Okay.
And so I think deep down in there, she still had some right thinking, but all the new evidence that had come out, with that, she lost her way.
Yeah, our frankenfood started like in the late 50s, 60s.
Right.
So, yeah, I know my grandmother was like a wonderful, identifiable food eater. And, I'm sure it horrified my mother for other reasons too. But, it's just very, very interesting. I have to be mindful of the time because my next interview is Girly and the Cowboy.
Oh, well, we can't let you miss your date.
And no, we can't. This is our anniversary. But we've been talking for almost 40 minutes, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, that was like that, wasn't it?
I'm not shaking this time.
Well, that's good. That's good. But it just shows that we're good for another episode of Marla and Sarah, because you're a well of information and fun. And I like it because it ends up being a dialogue and showing the journey, and how we do what we do. I love that you were wondering how long I could eat the large amount. I'd call it my big ass salad. It would be like 200 grams of lettuce. And then
I remember.
And then it started going down, 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 and then I just eliminated it. But this has been wonderful. You are an inspiration to so many people.
Well, I love my life. I love this way of eating. I never thought I would love how I eat. Eating was, I hated it, because it caused me such heartache. And now it's like, oh, yay,
And I love the foods you share on my Facebook page too.
Oh, well, thank you. Sometimes I go, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing it so often, but I get excited and it's like, okay, I can share it.
Yeah, it helps people. It really does. Because a lot of people just are stuck. And it's like, well, I want to eat simple, but I don't know what simple is because they're, doing recipes and stuff. And it's like, you don't even have to go that far anymore.
No, I do. Recipes, that irks me too.
I know.
It's like people going, the macros and this and that and the recipes. It's like, I can understand why they might start out that way. I did. But, there's that progression that it's like, you don't need to do that. Enjoy your food. Yes. And if you really enjoy casseroles, by all means, make them. But I don't need a 20 ingredient meal. So anyway,
no,
I'll keep talking.
I know, really. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to say goodbye
to
the viewers, and thank you for being my guest today. This is going to air on Tuesday, May 28th.
All right.
All right. So thank you, followers, for watching, and we will see you the next time. But don't you go anywhere, Marla.
Okay.
All right.